Um, I'm very happy to be here, except for my Article 19 being violated. I was told by the organizers, that is Professor Nagarjun and his colleagues organizing committee, that I won't need to speak today. That was my expression, my right to expression, not to speak. But yesterday evening, he insisted that I must speak. So that is my violation of Article 19. It's a great feeling to be here because two of my former students in Delhi University are participating. My very close colleagues from Hoshangabad Science Teaching Program, 3 teachers from Hoshangabad Science Teaching Program are here. And I think that is a great inspiration that after 52 years of working together, they are still chosen to come here from Hoshangabad. My colleague Arvind Gupta is here, who came to Kishore Bharati when he had not started touching matchsticks and cycle ball tubes. He started doing it while returning from a visit to a government middle school, and then he saw children, he got excited, inspired, and worked with the children, and there was cycle ball tubes doing various things, matchsticks, and he kept on building up. Until today, he's doing it. And I want to make a special mention of my colleague Kamal, who and I have worked together for almost 50 years. And when HSTP, Hoshangabad Science Teaching Program, was in great difficulty of not finding out the next step forward, it was Kamal's bright ideas who broke the walls, broke the hurdles, and we went ahead. And Kamal is sitting here. So many of such colleagues are here, and I hope I'll keep mentioning them. Just a minute. See, I carry my jhola. 52 years ago, people called me Jhola Chhap. And 52 years later, I'm still a Jhola Chhap. GN said that I was one of the 11 founders. That is true. But I wish there was one of the other 11 founders was here, Suresh Suratwala, who changed my vision of what is to be done in rural areas, what kind of programs or initiatives we should take in villages. He was many years senior to me, not just in terms of age, but in terms of years of experience of working in villages. His book, called The Paradox of Rural Development, the Devapur Experience. Devapur is the name of a block of few villages in a place called Satara. Those who are not from Pune will not probably know. Satara is very close by, and there's a great linkage between work of Phule in Satara, work of Phule in Pune, and there's a lot of relationship between the two districts. So Devapur block was a drought-prone area, and after finishing his post-graduation from Tata Institute of Social Science, this was the first batch coming out of tests in Bombay. Those young people who are now at TISS would probably like to know. Suresh Suratwala graduated, did his post-graduation at Applied Social Science, and he looked around what is to be done. And then he had the inspiration from Gandhi. He had read Gandhi, and Gandhi has said, the cities in India have become parasites over villages. And that was enough to inspire Suresh to quit Bombay, where he was born and brought up and educated, and he moved to Satara, to Devapur block for the next 35 years of his life. After spending 35 years, he started writing about his experiences, collecting data of what was there before he came and what happened later. He put everything together and reached conclusion which no author would like to reach. His conclusion was to criticize himself. I never read a document which has been by an author who has criticized herself or himself with such penetration, with such clarity, self-criticism. That book is available on the bookstall. This is the book. I'll read out 3 of his very relevant paragraphs to what is the framework of Chintan Shivir. drafted by Professor Nagarjuna. 3 paragraphs extracted from his writings. I read them out. This Suresh Surutwala writing is no more. He passed away last year. This then sums up paradox. It is an unequal society like ours. In between, there are some people who do not know English well enough, so I'll just put in a few words of Hindi. In an unequal society like ours, development, a big thing about development, that's the buzzword in India today. Development would only increase and deepen inequality. विकास हमारे जैसे गैर बराबरी के समाज में अगर विकास किया जाएगा तो गैर बराबरी और बढ़ेगी और संपत्ति और एक जगह पे कुछ हाथों में इकट्ठे हो जाएगी, उसके नाम चाहे अडानी हो, कुछ और नाम हो, टाटा बिरला हो. So leading to further concentration of wealth and means of production, accelerating exploitation and impoverishment. Clearly, inequality is India's socio-economic problem, not poverty. He said India's problem is not poverty, it is inequality. भारत की समस्या गरीबी नहीं है, भारत की समस्या गैर बराबरी है. The next paragraph. The prevailing rural crisis, a direct consequence of the increasing disparity between the cities and the villages due to pricing policies. The pricing policy, any product in the urban areas, urban product has a much higher price than the entire labor put in agricultural produce. So farmers are destined to be poor and further impoverished because of the pricing policy. It's elaborated in the book about it. Am I being heard? Oh, Mike. Where is the mic? It's here. I thought I was being heard.
No, just
No, you have to ask what the mic is.
Oh, you're recording? The prevailing rural crisis, a direct consequence of the increasing disparity between the cities and the villages. This is why Gandhi said the cities of India are parasites on the villages. The cities and villages, due to pricing policies deliberately favoring the urban-based industry, trade and the service sector, while blatantly discriminating against the rural-based agricultural and artisanal production as well as other multiple productive activities undertaken by the landless labor, by the 93% of the Indian workforce. The production by 93% of India's workforce, the unorganized sector, that is always underpriced than the remaining 7% of the workforce, which is located in the urban areas. And with digitalization of education, digitalization of our life, with artificial intelligence coming in the picture now, things will be much worse than what they were when Suresh Surutwala wrote the book. It will going to be much worse. We are heading for almost a disaster, not only in India, so the whole world. And the third and the last paragraph I'm reading out. After obtaining, this is only Suresh could have done. After obtaining higher education in social science and applying the knowledge by working sincerely with the people, have I done well? He's asking himself, have I done well of the people, or have I led them to more misery and suffering? Why does poverty bring out good qualities of a human being, and why do they disappear when she or he is better off? When the material conditions improve, then the good qualities of human being disappear. Why does such a paradoxical transformation take place? I stop here with about Suresh Surutwala. Suresh Surutwala played a major role in the formation and in the evolution of Kishore Bharti and his ideas. There was another founding member. There is a founding member. He is 96 years old. His name is Jyoti Bhai Desai. He is a great promoter of Nai Talim, probably the finest promoter of Nai Talim after Gandhi in India. He continues to be alert, alive, and critiquing, writing in Gujarati primarily. And Jyoti Bhai Desai and Suresh Surutwala were childhood friends. And they They participated in 1942 Quit India movement together. So they're that kind of a relationship. Jyotibai Desai was a Gandhian, and Suraj Surutwala did not agree with Gandhi. So they had to have debates all the time. In every meeting of Kishore Bharti committee, there used to be a battle of ideas between Jyotibai Desai and Suresh Surutwala. And they used to start shouting at each other. When they really got angry at each other, they switched from Hindi or English to Gujarati. It's only in mother tongue they could agree with each other. And with this, at the peak of their discussion and shouting at each other in Gujarati, when somebody will bring a cup of coffee or something to eat, then they will calm down, smile at each other, pat each other's back. इसे ये होता है, चलता रहेगा. हम तो बचपन से लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं जब से भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन हुआ. तब से लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं. और लड़ते रहेंगे. It is in this background I want to make a special mention that today it is not that 11-member founding group of Kishore Bharti which was active in 1970, 69 and 70 to give birth to this institution. What is important is that after 50 years, today there is a new leadership, a new group of people who are now leading Kishore Bharti. The new avatar of Kishore Bharti is very crucial to us, that old avatar could withdraw and new avatar could take over. Naya avatar hai Kishore Bharti ka. And it is being led by Professor Nagarjuna, Ketan Pramani, Professor Arunan, great people and many young people who joined them. And this all happened from after 2019 onwards. I remember that meeting of 2019 November in Bombay when Professor Nagarjuna was invited as a special invitee. And today he is the secretary of the trust. He is a thought leader, ideological leader of the whole organization, and young people are very happy to work with him. And I'm even happier than the young people that he's here. Professor Hargopal agreed to not only join, but agreed to accept the responsibility of being the chairperson. He's a totally new avatar of Kishore Bharti today. And that is a source of great inspiration to all of us that they are there. Jane, can I take 10 more minutes?
Yeah.
Where are you? Yes, okay.
Yeah. We just want to keep at least 10-15 minutes so that we can have one quick round of introduction before we go for chai.
Okay.
So we have like 10 minutes time.
Mm-hmm.
We have yeah, you can take 10 minutes easily. Yes. We have 15 minutes for questions. Go ahead.
A brief overview of the history of Kishore Bharti and its evolution. The present is already before you, that you will see today. How was the idea of Kishore Bharti born? I'm very fond of telling stories, but there's no time for telling more stories, but still I cannot escape because Kishore Bharti is a series of stories, nothing but tales after tales, and that is what is exciting. It was in 1965 when I was a PhD student in California Institute of Technology, and there were about a dozen more students from India, from Karnataka, from Tamil Nadu, from Uttar Pradesh, from Gujarat, from Maharashtra, from various parts of the country, doing various different disciplines. One of them was an astrophysicist and astronomer. He was doing PhD in astrophysics and astronomy. His name is Subhash Chandra. He hailed from Meerut. And in 65, we got a news from the news report which used to be released for Indian students in America by the Indian Embassy in Washington DC. So the report came and said there is a major famine happening in India. And places like Kalahandi district in Odisha, then several districts of Bihar are in real trouble, and poverty is increasing. This is 1965. And in the evening, when news was covered in the television, in our hostels, we used to sit in a common room, and students from various parts of the world, Latin America, Central Asia, from Eastern Asia, all were there, and they used to show Kalahandi district. And in Kalahandi, there are almost naked women sitting with their small babies and selling the babies in order to have enough money to buy food in the evening. And those pictures were shown with great pomp and show. This is what is India. So I can never forget students from different countries used to look at all the 6-7 Indian students sitting there. Say, this is your country, na? I hope you people know this is your country, happening in your country, you're sitting here and doing PhD. And this is what India is. In those, and a few days later, another newsletter came from the Indian embassy saying that Jayaprakash Narayan has given a clarion call to the all Indians everywhere in India and outside India, and given a clarion call saying that we are going to fight with the drought in Bihar, and for that we are going to dig wells. We don't have resources, people should send money. So, of course, we were all affected and feeling already embarrassed. We knew that a student from Egypt, student from China, student from Greece is going to look at us and smile, this is your country. So, we decided to collect money among the Indian students and send it to Indian Embassy for onward processing up to Jayaprakash Narayan. So, we sent whatever little money we could collect from our or we were all on fellowships. So, from our fellowships. After the thing was over, then Subhash Chandra Raj got us together in his room where he was staying and said, look, you people are feeling very happy you contributed to fighting the drought in Bihar, but don't think this is the solution. This is not the solution. The poverty in India and the drought in Bihar is a direct result of the wrong policies we have adopted, wrong economic policies, and not understanding Gandhi. And he asked, have you people read anything about Gandhi? We were blank. None of us have read anything. So Subhash said, let us start a study group on Gandhi. The study group started sometime in 1965-66, continued for the next 3-4 years. And he kept on showing us Hind Swaraj and showing us other documents of Gandhi. And after 3-4 years of study group was over, he said, sometime around 67-68, he said, we have studied Gandhi enough, we think we understand. If you understood Gandhi, please each one of you should tell us what are you going to do after finishing PhD. So people say, I'll become a nuclear scientist. Somebody said, I'm going to follow chemistry, organic chemistry. They're all students of science. When my turn came, I said, Subhash, if you accompany me, we both should immediately after PhD shift to India and start working on Gandhian lines. He said, I'm ready to join you. So after 1 year, when I finished my PhD, and he also finished at the same time, he went to New York and joined, I forget the name, some very famous electrical company and made an electronic telescope in the satellite. Very intelligent person. But I had no choice, so I came to join Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. And my mind was working with Nayi Talim, not science education. I had decided Nayi Talim is a solution. And Gandhi's writings on Nayi Talim were very inspiring. And I read his lecture in October 1937 from Wardha, from Maharashtra, in Wardha, where he said, he gave a challenge to India. If you really want to make India an independent country, not dependent on foreign corporate capital, not dependent on imperialism, the only solution is to change the village life, change the whole vision of what village is, and build up a new village society in India. That was Nayi Talim. So I knew that is my path. After 3 years I resigned and started finding associates, colleagues, and did find many people to join hands to start the Nayi Talim program. In the process, I had to spend a lot of time in Hoshangabad district headquarters because we were seeking support from Madhya Pradesh government for land. And my colleague who was supporting us, Sudarshan Kapoor, a postgraduate in international relations from London School of Economics, now settled as a Gandhian in Hoshangabad. And Sudarshan had played a major role in building up Kishore Bhati, which exists today. Major role. Therefore, his reference to him is very important. So when Sudarshan read our project proposal of starting a Nayi Talim school in some village for which we were seeking land from the government, he one day said, I want you to listen to me carefully without any disturbance. Not even a bird is allowed to disturb our conversation. So Sudarshan said, you're on the wrong track. Your entire Kishore Bhati founding team is on the wrong track. You think by starting a school for 40-50 children, you're going to change villages. You're not bothered about anything else except starting a Nayi Talim school. This is no way of changing even education. And he insisted. He said, if you really want to bring about a change, you must not start a school. He said, plead with you, people like you with your background should never start a school. I said, why are you so much opposed to a school? He said, because school is a school. You become a good headmaster, that's all what you will do. What you really want to bring about changes in Indian society, you must enter the government school system. But change the government school system. It was Sudarshan's voice, not Kishore Bharati's voice. I was very angry when we did not agree. He attended a meeting of the Kishore Bharati committee with Suresh Surutwala sitting there, Jyoti Bhai sitting there, and said, if you people don't agree, I'll withdraw my support to Kishore Bharati. He threatened us. Then we thought again. By that time, land has been given to us by state government, 150 acres of land, and we started our work. And Sudarshan one day asked me, is there any idea you have in mind which can change the government school system? At that time, TIFR, led by Professor Yashpal, was trying to experiment in setting up a science education program in the municipal corporation schools of Bombay. And 4 municipal corporation schools agreed to let Tata Institute scientists introduce experiment-based science education. They had already worked when we were thinking of it on the banks of Narmada in Hoshangabad district. At that time, Yashpalji and his colleague like Professor B.G. Kulkarni, they had already gone ahead and introduced experiment-based science education program in 4 municipal corporation schools, big ones, with 4,000 children studying in one school, that kind of a school system. We heard that although they had done very well, when the 3rd year of the program came, everybody realized, particularly the teachers of the municipal schools, that this year there will be a final examination of the children. And they protested, we won't continue. Because the science education program may be very exciting, but it is not going to help the students to pass the examination. Examination will demand rote learning, and other students will stop rote learning. So, led by Professor Yashpal and Professor B.G. Kulkarni, they went to Madhurben Shah, who was Director School Education in Bombay Municipal Corporation. Madhurben heard them and said, look, examination cannot be touched. If you want to start program, spread in municipal corporation school, I'll help you. But don't talk about changing examination. Examination like a Ganga. That's what he said. The examination is like a Ganga. And Ganga should not be touched. And Professor Yashpal and Professor Kulkarni could not convince Madhurben Shah, who became chairperson UGC later on, did very well, wonderful person, great person. But she did not agree to change her examination system. This was a lesson. So when Sudarshan was pressing us, we said, Sudarshan will agree to you if you agree to fight with us to change the examination system. That was a precondition with Sudarshan. Sudarshan said, of course, we have to change the entire school system, not just examination, everything. It is on this background that HSP was founded. And you heard the name Dr. B.D. Sharma, probably one of the greatest exponents of the tribal education and tribal welfare in India we have ever had. He fought until his death for the tribal liberation. Dr. B.D. Sharma took courage to allow us to start work in 16 schools. And as Professor Hargopal was hinting, it was a Director of Public Instruction, Dr. B.D. Sharma, without consulting the Minister of Education of the state government, without even bothering about talking about central government. He said, decided on his own. It's a good idea, it should be promoted. This is how SSTP was born. And the district education officer got a letter, an official letter in Hindi, saying that this is the decision has been taken in help these people to select 15 schools where they will start the trial program. The district education officer said, here are the 15 schools, you people can go and visit and talk to your teachers. If you like, you can start work in 15 schools. We did that. Then district education officer said, you are happy that we have selected 15 schools, but one more request. I want to propose to you a 16th school. Sorba school आप मान लीजिए. Is very dear to me, that school, because it is located in a tribal village. And none of the government officer ever goes to the tribal village. The tribal is a reference in the Professor Nagarjuna's concept paper also. Nobody goes to tribal village. So if you don't mind, I want to add a 16th school. हमने कहा साहब वो आपके डायरेक्टर ने बोला 15 स्कूल. वो डायरेक्टर साहब है, उन्होंने कहा ये अच्छा प्रोग्राम है, शुरू करो, मेरे जिले में शुरू हो रहा है, मुझे इतना तो हक है मैं एक 16वां स्कूल जोड़ दूं, कौन रोक सकता है मुझे? Can you ever imagine this happening? Director, public instruction, not even asking the Minister of Education, and no reference to central government. This is federalism conceived and imagined by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. As he said very clearly in 1949, on 25th of November, when he gave his presented Indian Constitution, he said federalism is the very key to growth of India, evolution of India. And every state has a right to decide what it wants to do. What we were saying, every government officer has a right to decide, and district officer has a right to decide. And same thing happened with block education officer later on at block level. Block education officers were also taking decisions. This is very important history which we have gone through. 3 years later, the same Ganga was flowing. Board examination came. And our students from class 6 had reached class 8, and 8th class was used to be board examination in Madhya Pradesh at that time, not now. Now it is centrally controlled. The teachers again protested like they did in municipal corporations. No more of this HSTP. बहुत अच्छा है, होश का है, मजा आता है, पर अब नहीं, इस साल नहीं, इस साल बच्चों को एग्जामिनेशन में पास करवाना है. So we decided to fight against the examination system. With great help coming from Sudarshan Kapoor, we persuaded the Secretary of Education to take the bold decision of changing the examination system. There's a tale in several tales in this thing. It wasn't so easy, very difficult. Lady Education Secretary, she was a very bold person, but still very hesitant. She did not know whom to ask. It was good that she did not know whom to ask. So after 1 week of contemplation, she sent a letter to the district education officer that all over Madhya Pradesh in 47 districts it will be board examination, but in Hoshangabad in 16 schools it will not be board examination. It will be examination designed and conducted by the HSTP group of Hoshangabad district. I think it's a historical decision. Since Bengal, such a decision has not been taken. Since 1836, such a decision has not been taken. I'm emphasizing this because this is what is the whole culture of Hoshangabad State Teaching Program. When first time the Secretary of Education, before expansion from 16 schools to 300 schools of Hoshangabad district in 1977, when Secretary of Education visited Kishore Bharti and said, I want to meet HSTP teachers of 16 schools at that time. So a meeting was arranged, and the Secretary of Education, coming into the culture of Kishore Bharti, sat down on a dari on the floor, and the teachers came and they all stood like this, like the servants stand, yes sir, yes sir. So the Secretary of Education said, he was supposed to come here but his wife is not well. So apologizing on his behalf, Sharad Bihar, he said, आप लोग बैठिए ना. नहीं सर, हम ठीक है. That was a culture with the interaction between HSTP's teachers and Secretary of Education began. It ended with people sitting, not only sitting on the but arguing with the Secretary of Education. We don't agree. आपने जो कहा ठीक होगा आपके लिए, हमारे लिए ठीक नहीं है. हमारे स्कूल में नहीं चलेगा, हमारे गांव में नहीं चलेगा. This change of relationship between teachers of primary and middle schools and the Secretary of Education is a great cultural transformation. In fact, to be true and to be honest, HSTP was nothing but a struggle for cultural transformation of not only the school system, but the whole society. This is the background in which HSTP needs to be seen. Much before the expansion took place, and I'm happy that Kamal is sitting there, he is witness to everything I'm saying. And if he doesn't agree, he will tell you this. By middle of 1970s, one of our senior most member of Kishore Bharti group, a Gandhian, Devta Din Mishra, without whose name, story of Kishore Bharti is totally incomplete. Devta Din Mishra started cracking jokes at us. When people came here to do Nayi Talim, now you do only HSTP, you have no time left for anything else. All of you are busy with HSTP. What about Nayi Talim? Then he insisted Nayi Talim must begin. Kamal and his colleague Sadhna is not here. I wish Sadhna was here. Kamal and Sadhna took the responsibility. of initiating the Nayi Talim program sometime in mid-1970s. For the next 3-4 years, they did it. What they did is exactly what Gandhi was asking for. Gandhian idea of Nayi Talim has been reduced by every government since independence. So every government, without exception, has kept on reducing the idea of and distorting the idea of Gandhi. Nayi Talim is not a program for vocational education. Nayi Talim is not a program for just producing something. Nayi Talim is a program where productive work becomes a source of knowledge. Knowledge means everything, from physics, chemistry, mathematics to language, everything. Nayi Talim becomes is a productive work program, based program which gives you sources of knowledge, gives you sources of building social values, it gives you sources of building skills also. Skill is a part of productive work, but real thing is producing knowledge and social values. And I think I have seen many Nayi Talim institutions in the country. I would say what Kamal and Sarna did in the next 3 years is a unique example of what Nayi Talim is all about. I have never seen anything parallel to what they have done. My only complaint with both of them is I have been pleading for more than 2 or 3 decades with both of them to please document it. Write it down. They say, आपको तो सब मालूम है. I was a witness, I was not a participant, I was a witness, very interested witness. And I can write, I have threatened them. If you don't write, I'll have to write it. I will probably not be correct factually, I will make mistake. They will say, ये तो नहीं किया था, ऐसा किया था, वैसा किया था. That will say, at the end of I have written, आप लिख दीजिए, अभी नहीं कह रहे हैं. तो कमल I'm passing on the message to Sata and maybe he will say something. If they both write, it will really come alive. I think even Gandhi could not imagine what these two people have done. Amazing contribution. Amazing. Politics was part of the program, sociology was part of the program, economics was part of the program, mathematics, chemistry, physics, everything was part of the program. I will not elaborate on it. I love to elaborate, but I will not elaborate. Based upon their experience, in 2005 National Curriculum Framework was being written by NCERT. I insisted with Professor Krishna Kumar, please give me an opportunity to write a position paper on work and education. He readily agreed and we wrote a position paper. A big committee was there. Position paper was rejected by the National Curriculum Framework Committee. Rejected. Not a word of our position paper on work and education reflected in the National Curriculum Framework 2005. Nothing surprising. Why will the Indian state, which does not believe in transforming the society, transforming the social relationship, fighting with the social structure of India, if the Indian state is not ready, its agency will also not allow you that freedom to transform society. Transforming the society is the very basis of education. If you are not ready to fight with the social structure of India, with a big caste and patriarchal basis of the Indian social structure, then no education is going to succeed. And that is why education is limited to a handful of people even after whatever is Amrit Kal or not Amrit Kal, whatever Amrit Kal comes. Even after 2047, nothing is going to change. Unless we challenge using the idea, philosophy of Ambedkar, Savitribai Phule, Jyotiba Phule, of Shauji Maharaj from Maharashtra, of Ayodhi Thasar in Tamil Nadu, from Periyar, from Narayan Guru in Kerala, from Gurjara Appa Rao in Andhra Pradesh, from all these parts of India, from entire the second half of 19th century, which is the 50 years of Renaissance in India. If you don't follow the path of these great founders of new ideas in India, of Renaissance in India, no education is going to succeed. It cannot succeed. It is with this understanding from late 70s onwards, Kishore Bharti was pulled into several social movements in different parts of the country, especially beginning in Maharashtra, where a lot of peasant movement was emerging in various districts of Maharashtra. And we invited the leadership of peasant movement and held several programs of discourse building with them and learned a lot from the peasant leadership in Maharashtra. And later on, in the 1977, news was coming from all over that in Chhattisgarh there is a new workers' movement emerging, led by a person called Shankar Guhan Yogi. We never heard of him until the state government shot down 9 workers. Then it became a national news. and we inquired about Shankar Goyal Yogi and sent a team to open this dialogue with Shankar Goyal Yogi and his colleagues. And since then we realized what Shankar Goyal Yogi has done by organizing the workers, the contract labor of Bhilai Steel Plant, who give steel to us by doing contract labor, and his imagination of Sangharsh and Nirman, reconstruct and struggle. The dialectical relationship between Sangharsh and Nirman, between reconstruction and struggle. Shankar Goyal Yogi was an unusual leader, and my researches show globally there is no historical example of what Shankar Goyal Yogi did in Chhattisgarh. No parallel example. Not anywhere in the world. Not even in Latin America, a very major social movement taking place. Not even there. I'll not expand upon it. I have a lot of information on that. So, after his assassination in 1991, I was asked by the Chhattisgarh Mukti Morcha to document the entire history of the movement. Because we were already part of it. Kishore Bharti was part of it as an institution. When they wanted to start a hospital built up by the labor of contract labor. This is the only hospital in the world, as far as I know. Definitely not in South Asia, anywhere else. The only hospital in South Asia started, conceived and managed by and funded by contract labor out of their daily wages. It is still working. Started in 1981. It is still alive and probably the best hospital in Chhattisgarh state. A set of 6 booklets are available here in bookstall. Loose copies of this kind and also set of 6 books. I would strongly recommend, if you are serious about building up a new dialogue, new discourse on education, you must read the experience of Chhattisgarh movement. I don't have time to elaborate, but one of these booklets called Sangharsh on Nirman has a lot of articles. Shankar Goyal Yogi wrote in Bangla, in Godi, the tribal language, and in Hindi, and of course in English also. In Sangharsh Nirman, there are series of articles on what should be education like. Jane, if you can photocopy and distribute or digitalize and distribute, it will be wonderful. Put it on the website. He says, Shiksha kaisi ho? The question for which we are corrected here. Shiksha kaisi ho? This is what is being answered here. So these will be available. You can give it to them. They don't have loose copies. Okay. In 1970s, when we were interacting with social movements in Kishore Bharti, at that time, some of us got together and wrote a small booklet called Jan Andolan mein Vigyan ki Bhumika, the place of science in people's science movement. There we basically were to show that the social structure is a determining parameter in doing anything which is different from previous experiences. And we also showed that the walls which are erected to divide between various disciplines of knowledge, these are false walls. They must not exist. There is nothing which separates science from social science, or social science from humanities, or vice versa. Unless these walls are broken, our knowledge will be incomplete. So the battle which we were fighting at that time was the battle of epistemology, of questioning every wall between 2 disciplines. And this is what we tried to establish. English version is ready. Professor Hargopal kindly agreed to write the foreword, very powerful foreword. We will not be able to publish it. It will soon be available, I think, on the website of Kishore Bharati, the English version of this. It is in this background. I said I will talk about Arvind Gupta. I want to talk about Arvind Gupta because of Eklavya. Eklavya was founded by Kishore Bharati in 1981-82. It started functioning 10 years after the birth of HSTP. And from 82 onward, it took HSTP to higher levels, added social science as a very active program, integral program of learning science, and also languages also did very well. When the people who were working coming from IITs, various IITs, from TIFRs, and from Delhi University to work with us as volunteers, very important, everybody came as volunteers, spending their own money. That was the culture. Because Kishore Bharti decided never to touch even a penny from abroad. Whatever money is available in our country must be mobilized by us. And we believe this is a founding principle of the 11 founders. We will never take any money from abroad. We have enough money in the country to support any transformative movement, And it is our duty to convince the people and take money from them. So a lot of our time was spent in convincing the people to donate money. We collected donation. We never short of money. Money always flowed in from various parts of the country. I'm challenging all the foreign funded NGOs. In fact, foreign funded NGOs create more problems than they resolve because their roots are not in Indian society. All of them uprooted from Indian society. Their norm, their value system are very different. We're very proud that we are able to protect. This is a promise we gave to some people right in the beginning. We never take money from abroad. And we have continued to hold on. Probably 52nd year, still we are holding on. Even the new avatar has decided not to take any money from abroad. When Eklavya was being formed by the young people who joined us in 1970s in 16 school program, at that time they were all getting together to start a Eklavya kind institution because we were going to expand in 1978. And it was expanded to 300 schools in single stroke. The support coming from Secretary Education, Director Education, they were all there. No consultation with Secretary or central government, nothing. In fact, NCRT found out that something like this happening. NCRT director wrote a letter to us. Can I come and visit the school where HSTP is working? We sure. He came to Kishore, lived there with us for a few days. We took him around in our jeep all over the village area. He went back and said, we wrote a letter to the state government. We have gone to the school. What is happening in Hoshangabad district is unheard of. NCRT would have loved to do it, but we have failed to even move in that direction.
Anil?
Yeah, it must continue. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it was NCRT director who approached state government that please let this program be expanded. We will support you. And that's what they did. They supported us without seeking any support from them. They were happy to support, and that I think because it built up their credibility in society also. This relationship is very important. So Eklavya was going to be founded. They needed money because they were going to come and they said we want salaries which are given to the teachers in university system. That we could not afford. We were paying to ourselves 300 rupees, 500 rupees. So we could not think of in terms of university salary system. So we needed to mobilize resources from the government. So I went to Planning Commission and contacted the agriculture member of Planning Commission, Professor M.S. Swaminathan. I was a student once upon a time. So he heard my story, looked at the proposal for Eklavya, immediately called without talking to any minister. He picked up the phone and called ICSSR, UGC, I forget 4 or 5 other schools, CSIR, which was set up the National Chemical Lab here, CSIR, and many other institutions, and called all their directors and their major people in a meeting. Within a week, the meeting was held, and every organization promised support to build Eklavya. It took 1 week to seek the promise. Still, things took time, and a lot of time was passing. And eventually, I lost my own spirit of keep pursuing people in Delhi. So Arvind, I went to Anupur where Arvind was working. He was at that time in Anupur in a tribal area. So I went to meet him and his friends here called Vidusha Karkhana, led by Dunu Roy, is a well-known name. So when I was coming back, he said, where will you catch a train? I said, from Shahdol town. He said, can I accompany you? I'll stop with the story. Can I accompany you? I said, sure, if you want to. So we went into a crowded bus and it was very hot. I remember the middle of summer season and bus was crowded. So he wanted to talk to me. So he said, can we sit down on the steps coming out of the bus? I said, sure. We both sat there and he said, I have heard that you have withdrawn your support for building of Eklavya. I said, no, I'm not withdrawn, but not pushing it, I have other things to do. And let Eklavya people take care of it. No, if you do not do it, he used to call me Babaji, he still does that. And he said, Babaji, if you don't do it, it won't happen. I said, look, I'm not going to do it, I've decided, I've had enough of running around. I have other things to do. He said, Babaji, एक धक्का और दे दो. आखिरी धक्का दे दो, फिर मत देना. आखिरी धक्का. I promised him. I returned and told that Gandhian, Devta Krishna, Arvind Gupta made me give a promise, एक धक्का और दे दो. He said, I've been telling you all along, you never stop, you should go ahead and get Eklavya established. So I moved forward and Eklavya became a reality. Because of Arvind Gupta. establishing in the history that he contributed to building up Eklavya, therefore social science program. With this, I take leave. Thank you for bearing with me.
I really feel sorry because